Okay. Your area of practice, which is compliance, is quite related to sort of potential mischief, regulatory
Mhm.
elements of that. Um, in general terms, as many of our students are still in the process of picking up their area of practice, how would you describe pros and cons maybe of being a compliance solicitor
Yeah,
and compliance officer?
yeah. Compliance is one of my practices specialized areas. I have a few others, but in terms of compliance, the pros and cons. Let's start with the good things first. It is a massively interesting topic, and in terms of possibility of jobs, it's very much a sought after role now. A compliance lawyer, and sometimes it can be combined with a job description of a legal manager or senior legal counsel if you work in house. So that's the pros. If you have compliance behind you as your background, you could sell yourself as a compliance law, contract commercial and compliance law. So that will be a much a niche area that you could sell yourself. In terms of the cons, though, it really takes a lot of strength in terms of mentality. You ought to be well, let's put it this way: you might not be the most liked person in organizations. It would depend on the organization's appetite to compliance, and how mature the organization is in terms of whether it's SME or small medium enterprises or it's a large organization. So you might not be the most liked persons. For instance, you might enter into a room, this is personal experience, you might enter a meeting room and some would go, oh, Neela is here, don't say anything, okay, don't say anything, be quiet. So that's that's not just once and twice. So yeah, you have to have a thick skin to be able to do that. And another thing is that if you review a job descriptions and some of them includes compliance, you might want to check whether you have adequate support behind you. A compliance role ideally is not performed by one single person. It has to be supported by a number. Two would be ideal at minimum, or you have a dotted line where you could report to or ask for a guidance or support. That's the ideal scenario if you're a compliance lawyer in an organization.
And also, the whole firm should really support you too with compliance and performing their duties, especially if we talk about solicitors firm.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
can I compare with this role sort of with like internal police?
Yes, because you're seen as the police officer, indeed.
Mhm.
So, so being a compliance specialist or compliance lawyer in a law firm is better compared to an in-house environment. I would say because the appetite to compliance in law firms are a lot higher compared to in organizations. Because you see, in organizations, very much business profit making um, orientations, whereas in a law firm it's quite mixed. So it's an interesting development that especially corporate bribery and corruption, for instance, is recently it's a much talk about topic. We could talk about it some other time, but it is very much the talk about topic in various law firms. So if you work in a law firm and you say, look, we have to educate, train our lawyers more on this topic, then oh yes, people would be interested in it because it is a very new and very much popular topic in the compliance world.
Yeah, I think it's because firms, in general terms, like being made of lawyers, have a better understanding of the actual subject, while business-oriented people, they more see you as a person who just makes some obstacles.
Yes, you're seen as a nice obstacle indeed. That's another thing. You would see like you're the bottleneck. I've seen that in my previous role. That it's not just something that being a comment that's been hidden. It's been said in front of me or on correspondences that you could be seen as a bottleneck and nitpicking, but it's because the understanding, the awareness is not quite there. It's not the person's fault, but it's a matter of bringing the awareness to the organization. It's very it's important, and it's a one challenge in itself.
Oh, let's support the compliance officer.
Indeed, let's support us.